Thank you, honey. Thanks for doing that. Thanks, Lynn, for the prayer of faith. It reminds me, how many of you have been to Unity Village? When you spend any time at Unity Village at 11 o'clock in the morning, they always play over the intercom Myrtle Fillmore saying the prayer of faith. And so every time I hear it, I can just hear her sweet, wonderful, loving voice saying that prayer. Or every time I read it or hear of it or anything, I think of that. So, good morning.
Good morning.
What beautiful weather. Oh, this is perfect. If I would just keep this all year long, I would be thrilled. I need to move this just a little bit. Okay. So, in Hebrews 11, there's a description of faith that includes this statement. Let me get my clicker going here too. It says, now faith is the conviction of things not seen. And faith is one of the elements, as Lynn said, celebrated in Unity during the Advent season, which begins now. We have 5 Sundays this December, so we get to do, I'll be at Payson on the 24th, but you get to do a nice little summary probably on that last Sunday. But there are 4 elements, and one of them in Unity is faith. Some churches emphasize hope, but in Unity we emphasize faith mostly. And faith is also one of the 12 spiritual powers that were set out by Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore. And it's the one we're emphasizing this month. Wow, what a coincidence. So let's take a closer look at faith and all that it means to us as spiritual beings this holiday. I don't know why I seem to have way too much stuff here. It's just like falling all over. Okay. So as I was preparing for the talk today, a friend of mine posted on Facebook Charles Dickens' quote from A Tale of Two Cities. And I thought it was so apropos for this time and this topic, looking at things not seen and faith. So I'm going to read that quote to you today. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief. It was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light. It was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope. It was the winter of despair. We had everything before us. We had nothing before us. We were all going direct to heaven. We were all going direct the other way. I bet you've heard this many times in your life, as I have, but for some reason right now, right here, it seems particularly true. Dickens happened to be talking about the era of the French Revolution, but we can just as easily apply these words to our time in our place. And it points up the need for faith. In the presence of such overwhelming paradox, how can we live without faith? In Keep a True Lent, Charles Fillmore said, faith is the perceiving power of the mind linked with a power to shape substance. It is spiritual assurance, the power to do the seemingly impossible. It is a force that draws us to our heart's desire right out of the invisible spiritual substance. It is a deep inner knowing that that which is sought is already ours for the taking, the assurance of things hoped for. Faith is about what we called conviction in the tradition I grew up in. The feeling that what you believe is absolutely true. Faith is that kind of belief, pure and strong and powerful. And faith actually draws out our good from the invisible to the visible. It's part of everyone. It's part of your God image. The difference between just belief and faith is that any belief, positive or negative, can draw that thing to you. You can believe in sickness or health, wealth or poverty, intelligence or ignorance, and you will draw those things into your life. But your gift of faith is a spiritual gift. It's a gift from God, and it relates only to God. So if your faith is not attached to a positive belief, it's like having a fortune and forgetting where you left it. In fact, that's pretty much what it's like when we forget to use or don't use any of our innate spiritual gifts and powers. Faith cannot be exercised at its very best until you believe in God and good. Belief can draw anything to you, but faith can only draw what is right for you. This explains why some prayers feel like they go unanswered. It's because we're asking for something that's not right for us. When we put something totally into God's hands, the results are going to be good and right, because that's all God knows. Author Robert Brummett, in his book, The Quest for Wholeness, says that faith is always operating within us. No matter how doubtful or fearful we may feel, fear is merely faith turned inside out. It's having faith in certain images created in our minds rather than having faith in the creative power of our innate Christ spirit. As we put our faith in these fearful images, we make our fear real, and we give it power over us. We choose our reality when we decide what to put our faith in. So I've come to believe that having faith is mostly about not worrying. Jesus said in Matthew 6, "Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? Look at the birds of the air. They neither sow nor reap nor gather into barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not of more value than they? And can any of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your span of life? And why do you worry about clothing? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. Yet I tell you, even Solomon in all his glory was not clothed like one of these. But if God so clothes the grass of the field, which is alive today and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, will he not much more clothe you, you of little faith? Therefore, do not worry, saying, what will we eat, or what will we drink, or what will we wear? But strive first for the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. So do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will bring worries of its own. Today's trouble is enough for today. My father's favorite saying. While everyone worries from time to time, it's possible to worry so much that it starts to noticeably impact our lives. But even if you are a worrier, you aren't doomed. There are a number of effective strategies that worriers can use to stop that cycle. Professor Jason Moser of Michigan State University and psychologist Christine Perdone of the University of Waterloo have shared some of the most effective habits and strategies for stopping worry. First, non-worriers focus on the present. Perhaps one of the biggest differences between worriers and not worriers is the ability to stay in the present and not get bogged down by things that haven't happened yet. This creates a worry chain, the idea that one worry will lead to a what if, which leads to another worry, which leads to another what if, and another and another. Non-worriers are able to look at a problem and recognize what solution needs to be implemented. Next, non-worriers practice mindfulness. Because staying in the present is so fundamental to stopping worry, practicing mindfulness can steer you away from that hypothetical issue that could develop down the road. It keeps you in the here and now, and it helps you be more aware of your thoughts. Non-worriers are more willing to take chances and to test solutions to a problem, even if it's possible that there could be a bad outcome. Non-worriers are more flexible, so they don't get stuck in a negative thinking rut. Non-worriers have a sense of perspective. They're able to distance themselves from a situation in order to see new options. And they get to the root of their worry. The problem with worrying is that it can spin out of control until the thing you're worried about is 10 steps down the road from what the real issue is. Non-worriers don't stop worrying, but they just designate time to do it. We are human beings, after all. A good strategy is to reserve a 15-minute time, or however much it takes, during the day, where you can just think and ponder over your worries on your own. But then don't worry outside of that 15 or however many minutes. And make sure that you're spending your worry session in the same spot every day. By giving yourself permission to worry about it, but later, allows you to switch your attention away from the problem and back to the present moment. Non-worriers tend to have confidence they can handle whatever comes at them. People with high worry not only generate ideas about what could go wrong, they tend to lack confidence that they're able to cope. Non-worriers, on the other hand, possess the confidence that if anything were to happen, they can handle it. They have the ability to see positive outcomes in seemingly bleak situations. Non-worriers are able to see that there could be a positive outcome to a bad situation. And they ask themselves the right questions, like, is it really my problem? Do I have any control over it? Have I already done everything I can do? And is it imminent? Non-worriers know how to perceive their negative emotions. They tend to look at negative emotions as a sign that whatever is causing those emotions, whether it's relationships or work or bills, needs some attention. They use the emotions to make informed decisions. So when Jesus said, "Do not worry," there were lots of reasons why this is a good idea. Not only is worry not supported by sound spiritual principle, but it can cause harm to us and to our health, both physically and mentally. WebMD, by the way, don't spend too much time on WebMD, but WebMD says that there are many possible negative health outcomes for chronic worriers. When the fight or flight response is triggered on a regular basis, like everyday chronic worrying, it causes the body's nervous system to release stress hormones like cortisol, which can boost blood sugar levels and triglycerides. The hormones also cause physical reactions such as dizziness, fast heartbeat, fatigue, headaches, inability to concentrate, and short-term memory loss, irritability, muscle aches, nausea and digestive disorders, nervous energy, rapid breathing and shortness of breath, short-term memory loss. I think I already said that. See, short-term memory loss. Premature coronary artery disease and heart attack and depression. So I hope those of you who are worriers, I hope that list didn't cause you to lapse into a worry chain. Here's the thing. Just as in every problem or negative thought or issue we confront, there is a spiritual answer. And it is to tap into your innate spiritual gift of faith. And how do we do that? I bet you know my answer. Prayer and meditation. You just have to turn your faith on. Turn it up a notch. Stop worrying about those things that probably won't even happen. And just come back to the present moment. It's simple. To avoid worrying about the future, focus on the present. In her memoir, Eat, Pray, Love, Elizabeth Gilbert writes about a friend who, whenever she would find herself in a beautiful place, exclaims in a near panicky voice, "It's so beautiful here. I want to come back here someday." Well, what's wrong with that? Well, often we're so trapped in thoughts of the future or the past that we forget to experience, let alone enjoy, the present moment. We sip coffee and think, this isn't as good as what I had last week. Or we eat a cookie and think, boy, I hope I don't run out of cookies. Right? So instead, relish whatever you're doing at the present moment, like being in that beautiful place, not worrying that you may never get back again. This could be something as simple as eating a donut, taking a shower, or sitting in the sun. Just enjoy what's happening now. Why does living in the moment make people happier? Because most negative thoughts concern the past or the future. As Mark Twain said, "I have known a great many troubles, but most of them never happened." Worry by its very nature means thinking about the future. And if you hoist yourself into awareness of the present moment, worrying melts away. Focusing on the present reboots your mind so you can respond thoughtfully rather than automatically. Instead of lashing out in anger, backing down in fear, or mindlessly indulging in a passing craving. Oh no, I hit a nerve. By living in the present moment, you get the opportunity to say to yourself, this is the emotion I'm feeling. How should I respond? Well, it could be indulge that craving anyway, but at least you're in the present moment and enjoying it. Mindfulness increases self-control since you're not getting thrown by threats of to your self-esteem. You're better able to regulate your behavior. There's no better way to bring yourself into the present moment than to focus on your breathing. Because you're placing your awareness on what's happening right now, breathing, always, you propel yourself powerfully into the present moment. That's why that works so well. For many, focusing on the breath is the preferred method of orienting themselves to the now. Not because the breath has some magical property, but because it's always there with you. Perhaps the most complete way of living in the moment is the state of total absorption. I think I experience this every single time I work on a talk. It's where you focus so intensely on what you're doing that you're unaware of the passage of time. Hours can pass without you noticing. If something is bothering you, this is another way. If something's bothering you, move toward it rather than away from it through acceptance. The mind's natural tendency when faced with a problem is to attempt to avoid it by trying to resist the unpleasant thoughts and feelings that go with it. It doesn't have to be this way. The solution is acceptance, letting the emotion be there, feeling what you feel. The present moment can only be what it is. Trying to change it only frustrates and exhausts you. Acceptance relieves you of any needless extra suffering. And finally, you've probably had the experience of driving along a highway only to suddenly realize you have no memory or awareness of the previous 15 minutes. Maybe you even missed an exit. This is not mindfulness. It's the complete opposite of mindfulness. I moved to California for a couple of years to Southern California for a job. And I used to go out on Sunday afternoon and drive around just to get a feel for it was actually a really nice area, but to get a feel for the area and what grocery store was on what corner and just to get more familiar. And more than once, while I was out there doing that, I would come back to myself and realize I literally didn't know where I was. I mean, I was driving in a strange place, and my mind had gone, really, I know where my mind had gone to what had brought me there, which wasn't the most fun circumstance that took me to that place. But so what I'm trying to say is these autopilot moments, this is not mindfulness. This is the complete opposite, mindlessness. And these are times when you are so lost in your thought that you aren't aware of your present experience. And this happens because once we think we know something, we just stop paying attention to it. Like driving is one of those things. If you're like me, you've been driving since you were 15, it's a pretty automatic thing we do, which is kind of scary when you think about it. That big piece of metal around on automatic pilot. So once, by acquiring the habit of noticing, even while you're driving, and I tried this while I was driving from Phoenix, although it's kind of hard driving from Phoenix to Yuma because there's a lot of the area that looks exactly the same. And I kept thinking, well, I should be able to find differences. Like, that's a different for sale sign than that for sale sign. Right? So, but if we keep practicing being in the present moment, we start to realize that everything is constantly changing. It isn't boring, and there's nothing automatic about it. Everything changes all the time. You can become mindful at any moment just by paying attention to your immediate experience. You can do it right now, for instance. What's happening right now? Think of yourself as an eternal witness and just observe the moment. What do you see, hear, smell? It doesn't matter how it feels, pleasant or unpleasant, good or bad. You roll with it because it's what's present. You're not judging it. And if you notice your mind wandering, bring yourself back. Just say to yourself, now, 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 like your pet dog. You know, if you asked your dog what time it is, your dog would say, now, now, now. Right? Because they're really living in the now. I guarantee that as you become more mindful and give up chronic worry, your spiritual power of faith will automatically grow, because it will be always within constant reach as the easiest and simplest way to navigate your spiritual journey and your path toward all of those things not seen. Thank you. Now, what I would like to do as our meditation today, I want you to experience a mindfulness meditation. This will help you to learn to, I hope, to simply be and look within yourself with mindfulness. So allow yourself now to switch from the usual mode of doing to a mode of non-doing, of simply being. As you allow your body to become still, bring your attention to the fact that you are breathing. And become aware of the movement of your breath as it comes into your body and as it leaves your body. Not manipulating the breath in any way or trying to change it. Simply being aware of it and of the feelings associated with breathing. And observing the breath deep down in your belly, feeling the abdomen as it expands gently on the in-breath and as it falls back toward your spine on the out-breath. Being totally here in each moment with each breath. Not trying to do anything, not trying to get any place, simply being with your breath. You'll find from time to time your mind will wander off into thoughts, fantasies, anticipations of the future or the past, worrying, memories, whatever. When you notice that your attention is no longer here and no longer with your breathing, and without judging yourself, bring your attention back to your breathing. Just ride the waves of your breathing, fully conscious of the duration of each breath from moment to moment. Every time you find your breath wandering off, or your mind wandering off the breath, gently bringing it back to the present, back to the moment-to-moment observing of the flow of your breathing. using your breath to help you tune into a state of relaxed awareness and stillness. Now, as you observe your breathing, you may find from time to time that you're becoming aware of sensations in your body. As you maintain awareness of your breathing, see if it is possible to expand the field of your awareness so that it includes a sense of your body as a whole as you sit here. Feeling your body from head to toe. And becoming aware of all the sensations in your body. Being here with whatever feelings and sensations come up in any moment without judging them, without reacting to them. Just being fully here, fully aware of whatever you're experiencing. And again, whenever you notice that your mind wandered off, just bringing it back to your breathing and your body as you sit here, not going anywhere, not doing anything, just simply being, simply sitting, moment to moment, being fully present, fully with yourself. Now, as you sit here, once again, allowing the field of your awareness to expand, this time expanding your awareness to include thoughts as they move through your mind. So letting your breathing and sense of your body be in the background and allowing the thinking process itself to be the focus of your awareness. And rather than following individual thoughts and getting involved in the content and going from one thought to the next, simply seeing each thought as it comes up in your mind as a thought and letting the thoughts just come and go as you sit and dwell in stillness. Witnessing them and observing them, whatever they are. Just observing them as events in the field of your consciousness. As they come into your awareness and they linger and as they dissolve. If you find yourself at any point drawn into this stream of thinking and you notice that you're no longer observing them, just coming back to observing them as events and using your breathing and the sense of your body to anchor you and stabilize you in the present. The thoughts can take any form, they can have any content, and they can be either neutral or very highly charged. If thoughts come up that have fear in them, then just be aware of fear being here, letting these thoughts come and go. The same for worries, preoccupations, and so on. Regardless of the feeling that a thought might create for you, just observing it as simply a thought and letting it be here without pursuing it or without rejecting it. Noticing that from moment to moment, new thoughts will come and go. As the meditation ends, you might give yourself credit for having spent this time nourishing yourself in a deep way by dwelling in this state of non-doing, in this state of being, for having intentionally made time for yourself to simply be who you are. And as you move back into the world, allow the benefits of this practice to expand into every aspect of your life. And when you're ready, come back to the room. So how was that? Hard to worry, huh? When you're doing that. So would you join me in a prayer? We're so grateful, loving Spirit, that you dwell within us, that we can touch you at any moment, that we can call upon faith, that we can see and do and be the impossible. By simply believing and trusting and knowing that there is good for us. And so we carry what we chose today with us as we go out into our lives, as we put these things to practice. And we say, thank you, God, and so it is. Amen.
So it is.
Now's the time that we offer up our gifts.